You're watching Camnet News. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. The top stories on our desk this evening. The Patriotic Front suspects foul play in Judge MUMA'S alleged suicide attempt. Former President Edgar Lungu's associate, Harry Findlay, in possession of 2 passports. Vice President Mutale Nalumango rubbishes claims by the opposition members of parliament that the United Party for National Development has failed the Zambian people. In international news, opposition leader in Nigeria calls the election a rip of democracy. And in sports news, ACHRAF HAKIMI, Paris Saint-Germain and Morocco defender faces criminal investigations after rape allegations.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
The news in detail. We start off with community news, where a couple aged over 75 in Mutendere A, Lusaka, says life has become unbearable for them after the loss of all their children, as they are unable to fend for themselves. Speaking to Camnet News, Winston and Mary Ngoma state that despite being placed under the social cash transfer scheme, 200 kwacha per month is not enough to cater for even half of their basic needs due to the high cost of living. Meanwhile, pals of the aged head of media operations, Laishi Musakanya, has urged non-governmental organizations and citizens in their individual capacity to help the aged in society, as most of them are vulnerable. Zipporah Mushala filed this report.
Old people in Zambia are known for living in desperate conditions, with some resorting to begging on the streets. While a number of them have been captured under the social cash transfer program, the cost of basic commodities is still beyond their reach, as they get 200 kwacha per month, while basic commodities are currently fetching at an average of 45 kwacha per 2-kilogram packet of sugar, 110 kwacha per 2 liter of cooking oil, and 170 kwacha for a 25-kilogram bag of breakfast mealie meal. This is Winston and Mary Ngoma, an aged couple of Mutendere Section A in Lusaka, who, since losing all their children one by one, solely depend on the 200 kwacha monthly social cash transfer to get by. They now narrate their challenges.
It's difficult for me, monga pa age yatu, kupeza zofunikia pamoja. Chifukwa zifunika Mungu, unjamenya lina mpamvu. Manje monga ife stikoza patilize mpamvu
maje bochitika kuvimba sowa unga so mwamene mwaletera tiyamikira poposa chifuka mulungu akutumani kutiendani paja.
Meanwhile, Pulse of the Aged, a non-governmental organization working with the community, says that citizens should take it upon themselves to help old people in the community. Organization head of media operations Laishi Musakanya was speaking when the organization paid a visit to the old couple and gave them a few food items to help them get by.
The old people are being neglected because others, they thought maybe they are wizards or maybe they are not useful for now, so they have been abandoned. We thought we are supposed to appreciate them because the way we are, for us to be well appreciated, it means it's because of our elderly people. So we thought of us to be like special, to be strictly with the old people.
We are saying thank you to our elderly who has made it possible for us to reach at this stage. It is them has given us whatever we have and whatever we possess. So as a caregiver, I'm a proud person standing in front of you to say, God, I'm grateful to give me this time and wisdom to look after our mothers and our grandfathers.
The organization states that old people should have their dignity restored to them, adding that it is the responsibility of every citizen to supplement government efforts. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A family at Garden House in Lusaka have expressed displeasure at the operations of the Zambia Fire Brigade, stating that the fire service only arrived 4 hours after fire was reported at their house. Speaking to Camnet News, a retired Zambia Army officer, Major Joseph Siame, states that a fire began at the house around 13 hours Thursday afternoon from a suspected electric fault, and that it was only put out by the family and concerned neighbors using water from buckets. Mr. Siame states that the Zambia's power utility, ZESCO, has also not come around to check exactly what happened.
This family of Garden House in Lusaka said they spent the night of Thursday outside their house in fear of being burnt after their house caught fire Thursday afternoon from a suspected electrical fault. A retired Zambia Army officer, Major Joseph Siame, who is the owner of the house, states that Zambia's power utility ZESCO has not come on the ground to ascertain whether it was indeed an electrical fault that began the fire more than 24 hours after the incident. He explains that this has left the family in limbo, adding that they have currently turned off the main switch to avoid risking another fire. Mr. Siame adds that the surrounding community depends on his house for water from a water tank, as there is no running water in the area, stating that the incident has therefore left the family and community without water.
And then when I was told that the fire started, I checked. What came into my mind was I just went into the vehicle, went to police, went to the school, and also informed the fire brigade. But the response is too bad. There is inefficiency.
So my beddings yonse yanapya na vovala vambili ngali vamudala vonse vapya vonse kulibe na suitcase yonse yavamudala yonse nanyekera tu eve sioneka nooneka na mwamene ili eve sioneka vinapya vonse vamene vinapulumuka chabe vamene venze ku bathroom kwatu munze washing basket vanga navo veve vamudala vonse valibiretu vasiya vamene vavala vili patopi. So tandizo vantu amene vachifundo vamene vanga tutandizeko azatinawo hapa monga ma beddings vanga tutandizeko
nadabo ache mfana achoka panja kambati muli muliro mu nyumba bati mwenze muliro mu nyumba natamangiramo tenga back tinaiso tumira ba fabricate maraini yenze busy kwesa na wopita mu road baesako kutuma maraini yenze che busy paka manje group wa community wamene watani zako tatenga chema bucket manje uyambotira ku chedokti wa pact wa boy wa fabricate ni nyumba ingapie yonse.
Neighbors also report that the Zambia Fire Brigade only came to the scene 4 hours after the fire was reported, which left them with no option but to use flood water to put out the fire using buckets.
Pempago wa Fire Brigade kutitika batumira phone bazinkarako fast kubwera na wa police tikapeleka report bazitandizako kubwera fast ndeti pempako chambe.
I don't know what entered me, but I think it's only God who made me to push things through. I managed to enter and I managed to quench the fire with my help with my friends, and from there all in all what I'm trying to say is that we need the help. When we cry for help, help must come there and then, not us just following for help. If we call for help, we need help there and then. This up now, it's not showing up.
Meanwhile, ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager Karisto Chitamfia, when questioned on the operations of the power utility, promised that the team would be dispatched to ascertain the electricity situation at the house. The family, as well as neighbors, have called for quick response from relevant authorities in future calamities. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Chililabombe Municipal Council Town Clerk George Molenga has expressed concern over the levels of indiscriminate disposal of garbage by unknown members of the public in the district. Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Nambela Kyombela says that the town clerk, accompanied by the health Inspector Emmanuel Kasongo, inspected some sites within the district. They discovered that huge piles of garbage had been dumped indiscriminately by unknown individuals. The council has observed that some residents using different modes of transport, such as tipper trucks and canters, are in the habit of dumping waste in indiscriminate spaces, an act which violates the laws of Zambia on waste management. CMC has therefore warned individuals that are in the habit of disposing waste indiscriminately to desist from doing such, adding that the law will catch up with them. Let's look at this.
To show this person who is dumping here, I wanted you to bring our loader if it is working. You load them, go and take them to the proper designated dump site.
Yes, sir.
And then, I don't know what we can do here to help you. We dig something here to show them that please don't dump here. This is domestic waste. So this is coming from some shops.
Yes, we here and there.
I just don't know how we can catch who is this.
I think we'll find a way where we'll assign someone to simply, we'll see how we do it anyway. Because I think we have a motor bike which will be running, there's a small component. So with that it's easy to have someone move around here constantly. But in case of this, of course, we plan to.
The Opposition Patriotic Front says it is suspecting foul play in the manner in which Mongo judge in charge, Wilfred Moma, is allegedly to have attempted to commit suicide. Speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka Friday, Lukasha Member of Parliament George Chisanga has wondered how a person who attempted to commit suicide can write a letter and start shouting for help. Mr. Chisanga says it is sad to know that the police was quick to issue a one-sided statement without recording a statement from the victim. He has since urged the Zambia police to thoroughly investigate the matter, further calling on government to enhance security on Judge Moma. Meanwhile, Mpika Member of Parliament Francis Kapyanga has alleged that God is displeased with the conduct of the United Party for National Development Administration, thereby exposing the illegalities happening in the party.
Thursday, 2nd March 2023, members of the public were stunned when information alleging that Mongo judge in charge Wilfred Moma, who is currently appearing before the courts in a matter he is accused of having instructed his subordinates to cancel a land title belonging to the Zambia Army and later giving it to the PF, has committed suicide. PF Lukasha, Member of Parliament George Chisanga, has however disputed reports that Judge Moma wanted to commit suicide, adding that his party suspects foul play and has called on the Zambia police to investigate the matter as opposed to issuing a one-sided statement.
God himself plans his way. Within many hours we established that this individual was actually alive. In circumstances that looked like really there was an attempted assassination on his life. And at that time, I remained expectant of the police to issue a comprehensive statement that would have explained to the nation really what happened to this individual. It is not heard of that a person can drive themselves out of their house at midnight and leave a non-existent suicide note and find themselves tied in a reed and ask for help from people who are walking by. And we saw those scared faces of individuals who braved it all to go in the water and retrieve him when he was still alive.
In speaking at the same briefing, Mpika Member of Parliament Francis Kapyanga has alleged that the UPND has angered God through their lies and says it is the more reason why illegalities being practiced by the UPND is being exposed.
Also hearing how district commissioners are stealing maize meant for the poor. That is the work of God. Without God, we wouldn't have known that we have DCs that are on rampage stealing. We have DPSs that are on rampage stealing national resources. God is being exposed to the UPND for having lied for them to get on the top.
Meanwhile, Chinsali, Member of Parliament Kalalwe Mukosha, has disputed government's alleged cost of the Ndola-Lusaka dual carriageway, adding that the total amount is more than what is being projected.
That 600 and something that we are seeing, that is the cost of the road to a contractor, not the government. What the government will pay in total is the money that the contractor will be collecting on a day-to-day basis for 25 years. So my challenge is to you, the journalists. You ask the Minister of Finance or the Minister of Infrastructure, ask him that, Honorable Minister, we would like to know how much will accrue to the contractor from the collection of toffees over a period of 25 years.
And leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mondobile, has advised government to clearly stipulate what will happen to the big fish who have been involved in the illegal mining of Sigillite.
But here are clear cases of people stealing minerals. You've arrested them, and that's the end. And you want to come and tell us about morals and ethics? You want to come and preach to us about non-discrimination? You want to talk to us about human rights and human dignity? No. I think we can do better. Your Excellency, I think this is one area where we'll take interest. We want to know what will happen to those individuals who were found in that Sigillite scandal.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The opposition Third Liberation Movement President Enoch Tonga says the 90-day pledge of dealing with corruption cases by President Hakainde Hichilema will be unattainable as long as the operations at the investigative agencies such as the Anti-Corruption Commission remain the same. In an interview, Mr. Tonga observes that while the investigative wings in the country have become famous for making arrests of high-profile people, such as politicians, many of these cases fail to reach a logical conclusion. Mr. Tonga has attributed this to what he terms as lack of concrete evidence, stating that this is a trend that should change going forward before public announcements are made. On Friday, 24th of February 2023, President Hakainde Hichilema committed in Parliament that a number of measures have been put in place to ensure that corruption cases are concluded in 90 days. The president stated that among these measures is the recent appointment of judges to the High Court and the Financial Crimes Court to ensure that the delivery of justice is enhanced.
We even proposed within the same non-benevolent corruption that the Anti-Corruption Commission must be left to work independently. Those are the changes that are required, because you know that the ACC works in conjunction with the office of DPP. DPP is appointed by the president. So there is this link between ACC, the DPP, and the presidency. So if we want to pursue these cases independently, so we must ensure that each ACC is independent from the DPP's office. We are uncomfortable with the position the route that Hakainde Hichilema has taken when it comes to fight against corruption. Why? Because he is not embracing or advancing the interests of the people of Zambia by enacting our non-bearable law on corruption. We even say that if they have found it very difficult, okay, to have it 50 years, as we said, or 90, more than 50 days, more than 50 years, sorry, and then maybe life imprisonment, if they find it very difficult, or they find it difficult to make it non-bearable, why then are they not just going to have it enacted without these punishments, without it being non-bearable? I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. So what we are saying here is that this law must be enacted as quickly as possible, so that the people of Zambia can be given the law that is needed in fighting against corruption.
Vice President Mutale Nalumango says it is a false, sweeping statement for the opposition to insinuate the United Party for National Development has failed to fulfill its campaign promises. Responding to a question raised by Wacha Member of Parliament Sydney Mushanga, who wanted to find out if the current administration has put up measures to determine why it failed to fulfill campaign promises, the Vice President says her administration has already done a lot in the period it has been in office. Meanwhile, the Vice President has disputed assertions that government is borrowing money to finance the construction of the Ndola-Lusaka dual carriageway. Details of this.
Confusion almost erupted in Parliament Friday morning during the Vice President question and answer session after Wengwa Member of Parliament Kasau Tumijelo asked the Vice President to remind the Zambian people how bad the Patriotic Front were while in government, further accusing the PF of having been behind the gassing incidents.
Number one, the banning of markets, our market here in Lusaka, and the killing of Samansama, the killing of Kaunda, the killing of Vespa Simuhila, and the killing of so many people, and the gassing of citizens. Their own people who voted for them, they gassed them. Now the very people who gassed the Zambian people, they are saying that they want to come back. Madam, you are one of the Vice President. What message do you have for the Zambian people?
Members of Parliament from the opposition PF felt offended by the accusation and did not take the matter lightly.
Order, honorable members. No, just sit down, just sit down.
Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, ACHRAF Chisangano, later intervened and cautioned parliamentarians to be serious with the kind of questions they bring on the floor of the House.
But now we are moving away. We are making this program like a fight, a battle. The honorable member for Wengwa, your question is not admissible, because there is no evidence and the matter hasn't yet been concluded about the gassing.
Meanwhile, Wacha, Member of Parliament, asked the Vice President why the UPND has failed to actualize all its campaign promises. In response, the Vice President has called it a sweeping statement for the opposition to insinuate that the UPND has failed to fulfill all of its campaign promises.
You have premised your questions of the cost of living on a very sweeping statement. There is a lot that we have done. There is a lot that we have done in terms of improving the livelihoods of our people. Yes, nobody can say the food part is not high. But look at the staple food.
And Chienge, Member of Parliament Given Katuka, asked the Vice President on what government is doing to ensure that a boy child enjoys the same privileges as those of a girl child.
Otherwise, free education is for everyone. It is not even affirming the girl child. It's for everybody. Skills training are for everybody. So in the education sector, I don't know how we handle the policy to make it non-discriminatory. We want the boys and the girls to all have access to quality education.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
To court news now, where an immigration officer based at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport has told the Economics and Financial Court that Lusaka businessman Harry Findlay between the 8th and 24th of August 2017 used two passports interchangeably. Testifying in a case in which Findlay is accused of being in possession of more than one passport, Linda Mtonga told Magistrate Munyinya Friday that after checking the accused's arrival travel document on the system, it was discovered that he used two passports for exit and entry into the country. Mr. Findlay, who is also former President Edgar Lungu's associate, is facing allegations of bringing in possession of endorsements of forged immigration stamps.
Evidence before court Friday revealed that Lusaka businessman Harry Findlay allegedly used two passports interchangeably between the 8th and the 24th of August 2017. In this matter, Mr. Findlay is facing 2 counts of holding more than 1 passport and being in possession of endorsements of forged immigration stamps. According to a testimony by Linda Mutonga, an immigration officer based at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, on the 8th of August 2017, Mr. Harry Findlay left the country using a passport number ZP 021332, while on the 24th of August, during his entry back into the country, used passport number ZP 013259. Ms. Mutonga told the Lusaka magistrate under the Specialized Economic Financial Crimes Court that both passports, after being checked in the system, were valid and belonged to the accused person, Mr. Findlay. In a further testimony, she indicated to the court that the discovery was made after a check in their border management system and the travel list for the accused was printed out. At this point, Ms. Mutonga wanted to tender the electronic document as part of her evidence, which contained details of the accused travel, however objected to the said production, basing the argument that the requirements that one ought to follow when tendering an electronic-based evidence has not been made. This objection left Magistrate Suvia Munyinya, who is presiding over the case, to adjourn the matter. She is expected to give a ruling in the next sitting on whether she will consider allowing the production of the said document as evidence. In this case, the state accuses Mr. Findlay, who is also former President Edgar Lungu's associate, of acquiring a Zambian passport on the 3rd of October 2022, purporting to have lost the one he had obtained earlier. He is also accused of being in possession of endorsement of forged immigration stamps for Mwami Immigration Border Control in his passport, purporting that it was officially endorsed when in fact not. The matter stands adjourned. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Still in court, a detective inspector based at Kawata Police Station has told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that there was an error during the identification parade that was meant to identify accused persons who allegedly stole a 6-day-old baby at the University Teaching Hospital in 2022. Officer Musonda Nsale, who was in charge of the parade that indicated that the judicial worker Precious Nkonika allegedly stole a baby, says that the named accused person was only identified once by a witness. According to the office, the witness failed to identify Precious as being the culprit accused of stealing the baby during the first identification. In this matter, Precious Nkonika is jointly charged with UTH employees and is accused of stealing a 6-day-old baby from its mother last year.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court has held that there was an error during an identification parade at the time officers at Kawata Police Station were trying to help a witness identify a person she is alleged to have seen stealing a child at the University Teaching Hospital. This revelation came to light during cross-examination when a detective inspector, Musonda Nsale Roman, based at Kawata Police Station, acknowledged that there was something wrong during the first identification parade, where he alleged that the witness had identified a wrong person. However, when questioned by the defense team how he knew that the witness had identified a wrong person, Detective Roman failed to give the court an answer. Friday, the 5 Lusaka residents accused of stealing a 6-day-old baby at the University Teaching Hospital in May 2022 appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court once again. Precious Nkunika, 28, a stores officer at the judiciary, Nelly Kasolo, 41, and Emily Ho, both nutritional demonstrator at the University Teaching Hospital, Rebecca Mkandawire, 42, a maid at UTH, and Grace Seseka. They have been slapped with 1 count of child stealing and harboring of a child, contrary to the laws of Zambia. They are alleged to have jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown with intent to deprive Elena Lungu, as a parent with lawful care of the said baby, stole the said baby from her. According to a statement that the police had earlier issued, Before the case was taken to court, it is said that 2 weeks after Precious Nkonika, the judiciary officer, delivered but unfortunately lost a child, a theft was staged to compensate for her loss. It is alleged that it was at this stage that she was allegedly assisted with the help of the 4 accused persons to steal the said baby. The matter stands adjourned. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet News. We take our first set of commercials. When we return, we have more interesting news. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. Minister of Health Sylvia Masabo is concerned over what she terms as lack of awareness on the dangers of extreme noise exposure, which has contributed to most hearing problems. Speaking when she officiated at the commemoration of the World Hearing Day on Friday, 3rd March 2023, Ms. Masabo acknowledged that the country has a critical shortage of personnel in the area of audiology and has called for more investment in the sector. She has also underscored the need for government, the general public and other stakeholders to prioritize hearing awareness activities in the country in order to prevent hearing loss in both children and adults. Details in this report.
World Hearing Day is celebrated each year to raise awareness on how to prevent deafness and hearing loss, as well as promote ear and hearing care across the world. Despite the efforts made by the government and other stakeholders, such as the World Health Organization (WHO), to enhance awareness on hearing loss, very little has made it out to the people, thereby raising concerns by the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders.
Numbers are rising, and it is likely that by 2050, over 338 million people will be affected by ear and hearing issues in Africa. The burden of ear and hearing problems is mainly attributed to the fact that many people with hearing loss or ear problems do not know how and where to find help, or do not have access to the needed services.
This was revealed on Thursday during the commemoration of World Hearing Day, where Beit-Cure Hospital Executive Director Frida Piri disclosed that the rapid increase in hearing loss as recorded in the country and the world, 1 out of 4 people will have hearing challenges by 2050.
Beit-Cure Hospital conducts about 2,500 surgeries a year. 40% of those are ENT or ear, nose and throat surgeries. Hearing loss is said to be increasing rapidly and becoming the most frequent sensory deficiency among humans. As said by the provincial director, by 2050 we are going to have at least 1 in 4 people living with hearing loss.
She has since called on to the government and other stakeholders to establish programs that will allow for comprehensive hearing testing countrywide among children under the age of 5 in order to prevent hearing losses. And the Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, has also underscored the need for the general public to prioritize hearing awareness activities, stating that when equipped with ear and hearing knowledge, cases of such will be reduced.
A number of times I've been told by mothers, oh, you know, my child can't hear. And I said, but how do you know? No, you know, from the time he or she was born, you know, those sounds, even if you make a sound, you know, and I'm asking myself, what are we doing as a ministry to ensure that such an important issue takes center stage? So may I ask Director of Clinical Care and Director of Health Promotions, especially Health Promotions, can we, as a matter of action, ensure that from this event, let's have another at least minimum 3 more events where this issue shall be articulated as a way of raising awareness among our people.
Beatrice Chavaya, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Oxfam, with its partners, has provided relief in monetary form to 600 households affected by floods in Namwala, Monze and Mazabuka districts to enable them buy food and basic needs. Oxfam business manager Eric Sitali says the organization's step to help was part of its humanitarian efforts to address the challenges faced by the victims in the 3 districts. Meanwhile, Mr. Sitali has appealed to the international community to commit themselves to climate change financing to reduce the effects of global warming on poor communities around the globe, including Zambia.
Oxfam, in partnership with Start Network and Keeper Zambia Foundation, have become the latest organizations to complement government's efforts in providing humanitarian assistance to flood victims in Monze, Mazabuka and Namwala districts.
We see that the regions of Namwala, Monze and Mazabuka, people were displaced, their lively assets were lost. So as Oxfam, together with our partner KZF, we thought of responding with the help of Start Fund Network to come and just see how we can help in supplement government efforts in assisting those that have been affected by the floods. So as an organization, together with our partner, we are targeting a total number of households, 600 in number, which translates to 3,600 people. We are giving them a one-off cash transfer to the amount of 500 per household, which translates to 300,000 in terms of the total amount.
The recipients are excited with the goodwill.
Tulalumba Oxfam luguhando batukwaya batubona kuti tuli mugatu mapehi ano babola ano batubuya baja na masimpa kuti tulu mape abobo ulumba gwesu mugatu mulimo abo batolerere kabajizumana na kwaya gwinda wawa
majingike tenga gulumba buyo kuti leza abamba bo magani ngobajita ngoba ndigwa hamala hindali yoti na ndabona mali buli yago yajaguli
Meanwhile, Mr. Study also called on the international community to show commitment towards climate change financing to reduce the negative effects of global warming on the poor people.
The other thing is we want to appeal to the global north, those that have committed to the effects of climate change in terms of financing, to actualize their commitments.
Frederick Macha for Zanisi News in Monza District, Southern Province. Finally, in local news back home here in Lusaka, residents of Kalingalinga Ward 36 have expressed concern over the erratic water situation in the area. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, the residents explained that erratic water supply has become a normal situation. Meanwhile, Mukobesa Nyoni, area councillor, has urged the residents to take safety precautions when using the water as the use of it, as the situation is being taken care of.
Some residents of Lusaka's Kalingalinga compound have been exposed to drinking contaminated water for the past 2 weeks. The residents have complained that the water coming out of their taps is unsafe because the contamination is caused by the floods in the area. They claim that the problem worsened during the rains as the water got more dirty. They have explained that the conspicuously brown color of water running from the taps is worrying as it is an indication that something is wrong.
If it comes through, then maybe it's only for a few hours, and the pressure is usually low. So for a place like this one, it becomes inconveniencing because to start with, we have a lot of people.
They have since called on the relevant authority to expeditiously address the situation because they are worried about being charged for the dirty water which they are not using. They fear that the contaminated water supply from the past few weeks will increase the risk to various waterborne diseases.
n'abenefi balifoko kukwata amenshi that at least basikembale byapyanga mumalums yawo noma amenshi naye atushupa so tulelomba kwati mutwafwe situation ya amenshi mwakalingalinga amenshi atushupa so that issue program said problem ili ponga problem ishi tulemona fi amenshi yaliko pisa amenshi tayakwete na pressure.
Meanwhile, the area councillor Mukubesa Nyoni says the relevant authorities have been engaged on the matter to find lasting solutions.
Yes, the issue of the brown water is a concern to us as Kalingalinga residents. However, we made contacts with the authorities regarding that, and the response is because of the flooding that we are having as a country regarding the source. So I'm urging the members of the community to be a bit patient and also to take precautionary measures such as boiling drinking water. You know, your safety is in your hands. Yes.
According to Sustainable Development Goal number 6, Zambia by the 2023 needs to achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. Sampa Mulenda reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
We take another break. When we return, we have sports and international news. Stay with us.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
In international news, Atiku Abubakar, the leader of the People's Democratic Party and the Nigerian presidential candidate, speaks to the press following an announcement by INEC, Independent Nigerian Electoral Commission, confirming his rival Bola Tinubu as the winner of the elections. The weekend election was neither free nor fair, according to him. This Nigerian opposition has since called this election in Nigeria as a rep of democracy. Other opposition leaders have also come on board to ensure that they petition the election. Here is a roundup for the international news.
Nigeria's opposition renewed calls for the election result to be overturned on Thursday, the day after the country announced its new president-elect. Atiku Abubakar, leader of the People's Democratic Party and Nigerian presidential candidate, speaks to the press following the announcement by the Independent Nigerian Electoral Commission.
The weekend election was neither free nor fair. Preliminary assessments indicate that it is the worst conducted election since the return to democratic rule. The manipulation and fraud that attended this election was unprecedented in the history of our nation. It was indeed a rape of democracy.
At least 4 other parties have joined him in challenging the result, and they have 3 weeks to do so. None of Nigeria's presidential election results have ever been overturned by the country's Supreme Court. Just hours after Said's February 23 speech, thousands of undocumented migrants were made homeless. This encampment was set up in front of the office of the International Organization for Migration in Tunis after Tunisian President Kais Saied accused African migrants of causing a wave of crime and violence. I don't think I can stay here. Really, I swear I can't. After all these things I've seen, I don't know how to explain it.
We need help. We really need help from all over the world because we are really suffering here. Things are not really useful. You can see the place that we are sleeping. This is not the place human to sleep. We are suffering.
At nightfall, Tunisian and foreign volunteers sometimes bring donations of food, water, blanket along with some tents, while young doctors give free medical care. For the distribution of donations, we try to avoid doing it during the day. That is to say, we generally do it in the evening from 8 p.m. local time for 2 reasons: to avoid judicial consequences, but it is also to protect us from Tunisians who are part of racism campaign. Around 100 Ivorians and Malians have been temporarily housed by their embassies and are expected to be repatriated in the coming days. A Malian diplomat said a flight to Bamako was expected to leave on Saturday.
We go straight into sports news. Paris Saint-Germain and Morocco defender ACHRAF HAKIMI is facing a criminal investigation after an allegation of rape was made against him. HAKIMI denies an allegation made by a 24-year-old woman that he raped her at his home in Paris on the 25th of February. The player's lawyer said HAKIMI was a victim of attempted racketeering. The Notary Persecution Officer said on Friday that HAKIMI has been placed under police monitoring and was banned from contact with the alleged victim. According to his lawyer, Fanny Collin, HAKIMI, 24, firmly denies all the accusations against him and welcomes the investigation abuse. He finally has the possibility to defend himself. PSG manager Christopher Gautier declined to comment on the investigation in a news conference Friday. The League One leader faced Bayern Munich in the Champions League last 16-round leg on Wednesday, with Hakim expected to play after recovering from the muscle injury. Gautier said the aim with the medical staff is for him to be available for the match against Bayern. Born in Spain, Hakim was a key player as Morocco made history by reaching the semi-finals of the World Cup in Qatar, the first African side to do so. His performance saw him honored at the Best FIFA Football Awards ceremony held in Paris on Monday evening, where he was named in the FIFA Pro Men's World Team of the Year. That note ends our news. The headlines once again. The Patriotic Front suspects foul play in Judge MUMA'S alleged suicide attempt. Former President Edgar Lungu's associate, Harry Findlay, in possession of 2 passports. Vice President Mutale Nalumango rubbishes claims by opposition members of parliament that the United Party for National Development has failed the Zambian people. In international news, opposition leaders in Nigeria call elections a rape of democracy. And in sports news, ACHRAF HAKIMI, Paris Saint-Germain and Morocco defender faces criminal investigation after rape allegations. We look at the Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from Colossians 1:15, and it reads, "He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation." Thank you so much for watching Camnet TV. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Good night and keep watching.